Shalom Israel. This is a new video for today. I think it's the 30th, I guess. Alright, I wrote some new terrible illustrations for you guys. I'll try to clear my voice up. I want to show you guys, this would be, this, I forget what verse this is on. I'm sorry, it's Deuteronomy 11. I'm sorry, yeah. This is Deuteronomy 11. Remember I told you. Now, he's talking about, literally, grain, wheat, corn, grape, wine, oil, things like that. Remember, it's the same thing as the Garden of Eden. It's in Genesis 2. So what you'll read in there, you'll read the trees and herbs and everything. You can continue reading on, and it'll say something like to the effect of God made everything, like pleasant. I think the word Eden or Aden means pleasant, pleasantness. But check this out. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. Check this out. God's talking about creating man. But this is already about man also being created. He's talking about also on a spiritual level. Now, check this out. He's like, no, all the trees of the field were not yet on earth, and all the herbs of the field were not yet sprouted. For Yah God had not sent rain down upon the earth, and there was no man to work the soil. All right, so you're thinking like physically, like, yeah, this is, let me shut this off real quick. You're thinking like, yeah, God like didn't send, there were no trees of the field yet, and it was just like a barren country, and it is. And it's also talking about the mind, which is like your presence, and when God's presence signifies like God's presence in the tabernacle. But I'm going off point. Check this out. You can go on to, like I said, I think that was Deuteronomy 11, I think. What I said previously. Oh, Deuteronomy 11, I'm sorry. Yeah, God's talking about bringing Israel into this land, okay? Now, specifically, this is really talking about the priest. But for the lower area, which will be in the temple, it would be like the high call. This is where the incense altar is, where David rules. He ruled the country of of Israel, the nation. But the priests were given this portion here. That's why they didn't receive any of this. Remember, this is like the land too as well. So the priests received like a priestly portion. So if you check it out in Deuteronomy 11, he's talking about for both levels. For what is on earth is also in heaven, and this is what they received. So when God's talking about observe the decrees, he's basically saying observe and eat the inner meaning of it, the spiritual meaning of it. This is your portion. Like, these guys are like rule under the king. They're gonna like worry about like their daily lives, going about. But the priests inherited the kingdom of heaven. And this is what the guy who the Levite, Yahushua, was teaching with the gospel. Okay, like even the Muslims' Quran also testifies to that. You can like go into that. It doesn't say anything about him being a Judahite, which would place him in a lower rank. Anyway, so if you check all the words of Deuteronomy 11, you'll see that he'll say he'll put you in like an occupation or a land, which is like a possession. Here he's just talking like priest and physical earth, King David, king ruler aspect, earth, land aspect. He mentions things such as in the heavenly mind, grain and wheat and corn, which is increase. Grape juice, sweet wine, oil, which always signifies like anointing, and like purity, and like enlightenment. And I think it says verse 5, I think, Shamatha Dabari, like these are over the Lababa Kam, the mind or heart, to bind them between the eyes, which is like your third, to bind them between the eyes, which is the mind arc, the 10 Commandments, and, the laws and decrees. And it says, teach your children while in it. So it's kind of like this, like, do you see how I'm like putting it out? When you like see the Torah how it really is, you have to like visualize it. You like see what God's like talking about and like what the spirit world is like. So you can't imagine what I'm saying or what God's saying when he's talking about like to the priest. He was like, you don't get any land. They didn't get any portion of this. And every Israelite will attest to that who knows the Bible. So they got a portion. And this is why in Ezekiel, I think 43, God says, if you follow my laws and decrees, I'll let you move amongst my angels. Okay, so like I think I have it illustrated here. And I remember, I'm not trying to blaspheme. I think it's going to be a multi-part, but excuse the poor illustration. Basically, I drew like a stick man here. Okay, he's facing this way. So you see the 7 angels. This is his mind. You see the starry heavens. The sun. The clouds. The stars. This is the vegetation and the mountains and hills and all this. This is that mind that I'm talking only from the priest aspect, not what people are talking about. Like when people say, well, we have to go to heaven, they don't realize that like heaven is to be attained while you're alive. This is why Yahushua said there are some people who are standing here who will not die before they enter the kingdom of heaven, because like they wouldn't die a physical death before they understood what the Torah was really saying. If you look at it on the spiritual side, you will be able to penetrate this line in your mind, and you will ascend to a higher realm. You do it already because you already somewhat visualize it, but you can't be locked in with like doctrine. You got to like follow like what the book reveals and the patterns, and then the book will speak. And you got to know the self. You'll find out the self when you uncover all this. All right, so basically what this illustration is here is, this is Adam. He's in the garden. God, had the everything for him in the garden. Vegetation and like everything. He had access to the angels. He was in the midst of the angels. That's why they said, Moshe, or not Moshe, I'm sorry, Adam got embarrassed and he like started running around the garden and trying to hide. And God was like, well, who told you were naked? So he knew that Adam, I'm sorry, who basically is the universal man. On the flip side, he knew that Adam had some knowledge of what was taking place on the left-hand side, which is death and shame, because he knew of some things. Well, because Eve told him, the serpent went to her. So, when Adam was known about all this and Eve told him, God kicked all this out. You can find this in the story. Go through Genesis 2 and go through the garden. Genesis 2 verse 15 it starts and begins. So he's basically talking about creating man, but he's also talking about the mind as well. Because in Genesis 3 it goes on to the serpent. The serpent like came to the woman. It could be like, we know it's the white man coming with the garbage. You can speak spiritually. Adam had no knowledge of he was built like the angels. He had no knowledge of rebellion or any of that. That's why it said knowledge of evil and death. And it was what he knew is what separated him from this mind state. Once he like knew that, he knew that there was like something else beside this. He knew. So if you can't try to understand that, I have like a few minutes on this. I'm going to open up another yeah, Adam, once disobedience or just even the consideration of disobedience came, Adam was like thrown out of the garden, and God put the angel there to guard the way. But Adam's been trying to like get up here ever since. This is why like God gave Adam, or Israel, I'm sorry, the land of Eden. I'm sorry, Israel. I'm sorry, the land of Israel, a land of milk and honey, and where the rains come down and everything comes in its due season, and and everybody gets their portion. Those who are physical minded. Oh, I'm gonna get to this illustration. I'm gonna close this one out and open up another one. Hold on, Sean.